What if the banner of the crescent never rose? What if Osman Bey, son of Ertuğrul, had never drawn his sword? What if the Ottoman Empire, one of history's most enduring dynasties, had never been born? Imagine the silence of a world without the Ottomans. No grand mosques of Istanbul. No empire that lasted more than 600 years. No bridge between East and West. This is not just history. This is a haunting question. A world rewritten. The year is 1299, an age of chaos. The Seljuk Sultanate of Rum is collapsing. Mongol horsemen thunder across Anatolia, leaving fire in their path. Small Turkish beyliks fight for survival. From this storm rises Osman, but tonight we erase him. In this alternate story, Osman never takes power. The 𝐇𝐢𝐬 tribe never unites under his vision. The empire never begins. Without Osman, the Byzantine Empire breathes longer. Its walls stand strong, its cities intact. The Ottomans were the hammer that broke Byzantium. Without them, Constantinople may never fall in 1453. The cross may still shine above Hagia Sophia. The Byzantine eagle may still watch over the Bosphorus, but history is never so simple. Because other Turkish tribes still fought for dominance. The Germanians, the Karamanids, the Aydinids. They might have tried to take Osman's place, but would they have succeeded? Would they have built a dynasty that lasted centuries? Or would their fire burn out too soon? The Mongols loom large in this tale. Without the Ottomans to resist, Mongol influence may deepen in Anatolia. Turkish independence may wither. Anatolia could fall under Mongol shadow, its people slaves to distant Khans. And Europe? Without Ottoman expansion, the story of Europe changes forever. The Balkans remain under Christian rule. Vienna never feels the drums of Ottoman armies. Spain, France, and England never unite against an Eastern threat. The Renaissance may rise differently. Colonial empires may shape another path. And Islam? Without the Ottomans, the Muslim world loses its shield. For 6 centuries, the Ottomans were guardians of the faith. They protected Mecca and Medina. They carried the caliphate. Without them, the Islamic world may fracture into pieces, vulnerable to both East and West. The stage is set. A world without Osman is a world unrecognizable. But the question remains, who, if not Osman, could have carried the torch? The world holds its breath. For centuries, the Ottoman Empire became a rising tide that changed the course of continents. But without Osman Bey, this tide never comes, and the dream of empire shatters. The 𝐇𝐢𝐬 tribe drifts without purpose. Instead of uniting Anatolia, they scatter across the mountains. Some are swallowed by rival tribes. Others vanish into the pages of forgotten history. No Osman, no Orhan, no long line of sultans. The dynasty is erased before it begins. But what fills the void? The Byzantines push back. They reclaim lost fortresses. The Karamanids rise as the strongest Turkish principality, dreaming of glory. Yet they lack Osman's vision. They fight, but only for power, not destiny. Their lands splinter, their armies weakened by endless rivalries. An empire built on such fragile ground cannot last. In this world, Constantinople does not fall in 1453. The city remains Christian. Its great walls stand tall, untouched by Ottoman cannons. The Byzantine Empire, though a shadow of its former self, continues as a flickering flame in history. Without the Ottomans, Islamic power in Europe never takes root. No mosques rise in the Balkans. No call to prayer echoes in Sarajevo. The great cultural exchange between East and West is silenced before it begins. But let us imagine deeper. What of the Arab lands? What of Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem? Without the Ottomans, the Mamluks of Egypt may hold power longer. But when European crusaders return with greater strength, who will stop them? The Ottomans once stood as the sword and shield of Islam. In their absence, Islamic holy cities may fall to foreign kings. And the caliphate? It may dissolve into dust, scattered among rival claimants. The unity of the Muslim world fractures further, leaving it vulnerable to both Mongols in the east and crusaders in the west. Europe, too, changes. Without the Ottoman threat, Christian kings turn their eyes elsewhere. The age of exploration may never begin the same way. Spain and Portugal do not fear the Ottomans controlling trade routes. Perhaps they never sail as desperately across the Atlantic. Perhaps Columbus never reaches America in 1492. The New World may remain untouched for centuries longer. The absence of Osman ripples like thunder. The Renaissance may not burn as brightly. The Reformation may not gain such momentum. Because the Ottomans were more than conquerors. They were a mirror, a rival that pushed Europe to change, to invent, to expand. Without them, Europe may remain inward. Divided, weaker, history bends into an unrecognizable shape. And yet, the dream of empire lingers. For destiny often finds another way. Perhaps another Turkish leader would rise. Perhaps not in Bithynia, but in Konya, Sivas, or Ankara. Perhaps a new dynasty would carry the banner of Islam. But would it burn for 600 years? Would it stretch across 3 continents? Would it rival Rome itself? No one can answer. But one truth stands clear. Without Osman, the world is not the same. It is poorer, darker, emptier. The great cities of Istanbul, Bursa, and Edirne remain only whispers. The empire of sultans never breathes life. The shattered dream leaves us with one haunting vision. What happens to a world that loses its most powerful empire before it is born? Imagine a world where the name Osman Ghazi never echoes through the ages. No crescent flag over Constantinople. No call to prayer rising in Hagia Sophia. The world is not what we know. The Balkans breathe differently. Without Ottoman rule, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Bosnia remain Christian kingdoms. Their people never blend cultures, never taste the exchange of East and West. No mosques, no caravanserais, no Ottoman schools. Instead, the region becomes a battlefield of European powers. Hungary, Austria, and Venice, tearing it apart. The great trade routes through Anatolia stay fractured. Merchants fear endless tribal wars. The Silk Road weakens, cutting the lifeline between Asia and Europe. The Ottomans once gave this road safety, order, and strength. Now, in this alternate world, it collapses into dust. Religion takes a different path. Without Ottoman protection, Islam in Eastern Europe fades before it can bloom. The Kosovo plain never hears the call of the muezzin. The great city of Sarajevo never shines with domes and minarets. Instead, churches and cathedrals rise unchecked, the dominance of Christianity unchallenged. And yet, the absence of an empire leaves both faiths weaker. Islam loses one of its greatest defenders. Christianity loses one of its greatest rivals. The fire of competition, the spark of greatness. It dies. Consider the fate of science, art, and culture. No Ottoman court to sponsor poets like Baki, no architects like Mimar Sinan, no libraries of manuscripts preserved through wars. Without the Ottomans, countless works of Islamic and Byzantine heritage may vanish forever. Knowledge, once passed from Baghdad to Istanbul to Europe, is lost in the storm of chaos. And what of the modern world? Without Ottoman rule, the Middle East may have fallen even earlier under European control. Colonialism may have devoured it centuries sooner. The borders of the Middle East may look even more broken than they do today. Yet one haunting question lingers. If Osman never founded the empire, would another rise to fill the void? History teaches us that power abhors a vacuum. The Mongols, the Persians, the Mamluks, the Venetians, each would grasp for dominance. But none would shape the world as the Ottomans did. None would hold power for 6 centuries. None would rule 3 continents at once. The Ottomans were not inevitable. They were unique. They were the child of a man named Osman who chose not only to fight, but to dream. And so, as we look upon this shadow world, a world without the Ottoman Empire, we see how fragile history is. How a single choice, a single man, a single spark can ignite a fire that burns for centuries. The story of Osman shows us that history is never guaranteed. Empires are not written in stone. They are built by vision, courage, and timing. Without him, the world would be emptier, less connected, and less vibrant. His legacy reminds us that one leader can change not just his tribe, but the entire fate of civilizations. And so, we close this journey with a haunting thought. If a shepherd's son from Anatolia could shape the destiny of half the world, what destinies today wait for the courage of a single dreamer? Subscribe to Historical TV, where we uncover not just what happened,